Welcome, guys, to my Golden Bachelor Season 1, premiere season, episode 5 recap. We are back, Bachelor Nation. Oh, this week in Bachelor Nation has been, it's been a lot, I feel like.
Uh-huh.
We've had some hard launches, we've had some baby announcements, we've had some non-baby announcements.
Not baby.
Well, I mean, in Rachel Lindsay's case, welcome Chantal. In Rachel Lindsay's case, I don't think that was a baby announcement as much as leave me alone.
Oh, I thought it was just a great costume.
Right, but I think people want her to announce that she's pregnant, so she's like,
yeah,
"This is all I'm announcing."
That's true.
What did I miss?
No, I would say this week in Bachelor Nation has been a lot. We've had some hard launches.
What have I missed?
You didn't
I
see
think she's
Michelle
talking about
hard launch her boyfriend finally?
Oh, well, like profile. His profile. Like I want to see what he looks like.
Everything.
Oh, I only saw the profile.
What did you just say?
Michelle Young launched her boyfriend.
Well,
I didn't see. I only saw the picture you sent me.
But I've only can see the side of his face.
Yeah, he's tagged in it. He's tagged in it. If you get his name and everything, you Google him and everything.
Okay, so tell me more about him.
Hi, V.
Tell me more about him.
It looks like he used to play for University of Minnesota, so I'm wondering if she's known him.
Oh.
I can't tell his nationality, but he looks white with a tan.
Not white.
His name is Jack. Okay.
Yeah, his name is
when
Jack.
When I last saw this photo on her page, he wasn't tagged because I remember not knowing his name. I'm like, well, who is this person? I just see this photo like this, and I was like, it wasn't tagged.
Oh, when I saw it, it was tagged. So
unless
maybe she went back and tagged it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when I saw it, it was tagged. So I was like, oh, okay.
Because I would have 100% clicked on his stuff, right?
Yeah.
He looks handsome from the side of his face.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. He's very handsome. Like I said, looks like a football player. That maybe she is known for a bit. So
no, it looks like he has another ethnicity in him.
Yeah,
right?
he's mixed.
He does. That's what I said. He I was like, at the most he could be white with a tan.
He only has 6 pictures. He only has 6 pictures in his Instagram.
Oh yeah, no, he scrubbed his social media.
He was like, before we do this hard launch, let me get my life in order.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like, we gonna go ahead with this, but first let me scrub my social media. But if you Google his name, you can find out a lot of information on him.
That looks like a sexy picture with that shirt open with that tattoo going down his chest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So yeah, so Bachelor Nation is I guess we're healing.
Yeah, we're healing.
We're healing. But we are here to discuss the Golden Bachelor, which I don't know, guys. I watched the episode on Thursday, and I was like, I think this is probably my least favorite episode.
I'm trying to remember. I don't remember what happened right now, so maybe that's indicative.
Yeah, I think so too. But it was also because my girl, that was my girl. But I feel like they had fun where they went. Each date, the people had so much fun. Right. But it was my least favorite episode. I agree.
But on my second watch while I was taking notes, I'm higher on the date, the one-on-one date, than I was when I watched it initially.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But we do see in the beginning, we get a mini preview of Gerry telling Leslie, who he took on a one-on-one date with last week. They went ATVing, not to be upset about how she's feeling. So, I mean, this is like basically a preview of the entire episode because most of this was Leslie being very upset, spiraling, that kind of stuff.
But I also think that Leslie's the winner.
Leslie or Faith?
Leslie.
Well, V's saying Faith, and I'm actually kind of...
I mean, the reason why I don't think Am I getting them mixed up? Is Faith
You
the
might
one
be
that's
getting
like
Faith.
that's like
Faith is the one that went on the date with the yacht. The date that was this episode. That's Faith.
who has the hearing aids and is the dancer?
Leslie.
Leslie.
Leslie's the dancer.
I think he's choosing Leslie. Faith
This
is
is
the
the
one that
thing.
had like the tormented like past, right? Like she said that she
Was
lived in the
cheated
car.
Huh?
Said that she
Oh.
grew up and she lived like she was homeless for a bit and she didn't
Yes,
have a
that was this week. That was this date.
That
Right,
was
yeah.
Faith that said that, or Leslie?
Faith.
That was Faith.
So
Okay,
you think he's gonna
let's
choose
get
Faith,
into
or
it,
you
then
think
maybe
he's
we.
gonna choose
I
Leslie?
think Leslie.
Okay.
Listen, I will say this. One thing we can agree on, it's not Teresa.
Oh no.
After this episode, it's not Teresa. I'm sorry. It's not Teresa.
It's not Teresa. And I think Faith and Leslie know it's between them, because when one goes on a date, the other one cries the whole episode. And when the other one goes on a date, the other one cries the whole episode. It's just,
I just think they're insecure personally. I think if you think about their backgrounds, it's a lot of insecurity on both of them, which is why we're getting. I think that's why people keep mixing them up. They're very similar in some ways, very insecure in a lot of in a lot of ways, but they also look very similar.
yeah.
And also, like, give Chantel especially, but also me, our coins. We said he was going for the brunettes.
Oh yeah.
You did.
When Ellen at the end, I was like, nope.
Yeah.
He likes those brunettes.
Yep. And so, this episode like really kind of solidified, I feel like, where I think Gerry is leaning. But it also solidified definitely like who it wasn't. So like I definitely know it's not Teresa. He gave her nothing in this episode, but we will get there. But then we head into the Bachelor mansion, and 4 of the remaining 6 women are singing Haba Nagila. They're in the pool, they're holding hands. Sandra is sitting by the pool looking on. And there are 6 ladies left, guys. And Leslie ITM, she had an amazing date, and she is falling for Gerry. Ellen ITMs how strong her feelings are for Gerry. It's more than she can imagine. Faith's in the kitchen, and she's ITMing that she has strong, surprising feelings for Gerry, considering they haven't had any one-on-one time. So literally, Faith has been hanging on with her fur. Her first impression rose since the beginning. They haven't had any time.
And yeah, I know like the first impression rose, it's usually with the female, but with the bachelorettes, they usually have a good picker when they choose their first impression rose. It lends to somebody that gets either very far or is their winner. And so I'm wondering that's going to be same with Gerry. I think that's why some people, or you guys even, I think that it's going to be Faith. But I just don't know if he likes her insecurity. You know what I mean? Like she's just so insecure about, and always just talking about how she's different than everyone else. Mm-hmm. And like she's didn't we label her a pick me at one point?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm going to say this again. I watched it on Thursday, and I said, and I think I even tweeted this date. I felt nothing. I felt nothing in this date. I didn't feel anything.
I felt nothing. That's why I was like, I felt like he felt something when he was with Ellen, and I felt like on this day he didn't feel anything. I felt like they felt the excitement of being in the helicopter, being in the yacht. You know what I mean? But I'm talking about emotionally. I didn't see anything.
I didn't see anything.
That's why I was confused.
Right. So on my second watch of the date, I will explain to you why I felt a little more. I'm not saying she's the front runner. I'm saying I get it a little more, because I'm telling you on Thursday, I was sitting there like, there is nothing between these two.
Well, enlighten me. I should have watched it.
So she's saying next week is hometowns, and she needs a one-on-one time. I mean, and we always get this. This is standard Bachelor,
right.
Bachelor Nation stuff, right? You have this, either the person who got the very first one-on-one date or the first impression rose, and they get no time, and they sometimes we're like, did they even like this person, or did the production give them
a nudge who to pick?
Exactly.
The Abigail effect.
I was gonna say Abigail. Abigail. And so seriously, just a waste of Abigail's amazing. And just it was just such a waste. It was such a waste.
I mean, that season.
Yeah.
Sorry. I mean, some good people came out of it, but like women, but
and I keep saying this. I said this. I don't know if you were here, Chantal, when I said this, but Matt's women, amazing women. They came on there for love. Most of them are in long-term relationships or engaged or married. Maggie's pregnant. Just a loss. And then we got out of it Katie is the Bachelorette, who is now on F-Boy Island, proving she's an F-girl. Because she has great guys, and she's like leaning towards the F-boys. Anyway, I won't go there.
So you're watching it? I haven't even.
I am watching it, but I'm only watching it for Vince. I'm only watching it for one person. Seriously, because I love him. He was on Amazon's The One That Got Away. He's the Asian guy who is one of the leads. And he's such a good guy. Like he's definitely not an F-boy. He's on there as a good guy. But of course, the person he is attracted to is Katie.
Maybe they like her Instagram follower account.
I mean, he seems a very big fan of Bachelor Nation, so possible. But I like Vince, so
like, not to put anything down on him. Like, I go for what you want. Like, if you're going on this show to get some clout, go for Katie.
Yeah.
It will be you'll get the most, engagement. So that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I'm not going to meet anybody that I'm really going to get with on this show. I'm like, I'm going to go for whoever's going to give me the most clout. Or
and maybe it will last. And so, this is what we're consistently seeing of late. I feel like they kind of interrupt connections, mess around with feelings. That is where we are with this show. But Faith just says she's there with him. Of all the women, she's already saying she has strong feelings for him. She just needs the one-on-one time to solidify it. So they've been basically keeping her hung on just for that. And I'm
sorry, I forget to. What was the lady that had to go home because of her daughter just had the baby?
Yeah.
Joan. When he looked at her and he was talking to her, you could see that he was developing feelings. On this date, when he was talking to her, I did not even see that same look, and she's so much further along. I did not see that look in his eyes when he was talking to her.
Well, maybe Gerry is not capable. Maybe he's just shutting off completely because it's taking a toll on him. The fact that he's hurting so many women, and he had been so open and giving, and then having to send them home. Maybe he's just kind of shutting off his feelings a little bit so that it's not as painful, all of these eliminations. So he's just not giving anything now, just because he already knows who he's going to pick, and he's just doesn't want to be heartbroken 2 other times. Maybe.
I mean, it's possible. I do feel like I feel like he was a lot more open prior to this episode, and this episode, I feel like he's definitely shutting down.
Yeah, I think he's okay, let's wrap this up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he feels like he's being mean and hurtful, and he says we hear in a soundbite for the next episode that he's in love with 3 women, and this is heartbreaking, and we haven't seen the scene where he's I don't want to do this anymore, I'm done,
Yeah. So there's 2 scenes that we haven't seen, and I know it's going to get bad. And we'll discuss those. Ooh, sorry, my notes closed. And we'll discuss those because I do think they're telling. But yeah, I agree. I think he's over it. I think he, like you said, like I think coming into this episode, he kind of just knew at least who his top two were. I think if he had a fourth, Ellen probably would have been the fourth.
Why don't they
But
just make it 4 hometowns? You know,
I
mean,
don't know.
Maybe it's harder
understand.
on Gerry.
Since when is it 3? I didn't understand that.
I didn't understand, but I think it's because I think we came into this knowing it was going to be a shorter season, right? So I think it was just to create, because I'm not sure if they even get fantasy suites. I think they might be skipping over that. Yeah.
Okay. Condoms in the drawer?
Yeah, I think they might be skipping over fantasy suites. So that would make sense why we're cutting it down to just 3, then 2 will meet his family, and then he'll make the decision, right?
I guess so.
If they're not going to fantasy suites.
I guess so, because they did say it was only 8 episodes, right?
Yeah.
What episode are we on? 5?
Yeah, we're talking about 5, yeah.
So
next week is 6.
Maybe there's only fantasy suites with 2, the final 2, maybe this time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
And then that would be,
and
then
then
meet his family's fine. Like maybe it's fantasy suites and meet his family,
Mm-hmm.
and then the winner,
and then pick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the rose or whatever makes 8 or whatever.
I still have to say though, seeing this show is giving me hope. I'm like, maybe there's gonna be a show for us.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Listen, you need to cast the 40-year-olds. We need love.
We ready.
And we have money. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so like to buy, like if I think that it's always about selling commercials and ad space and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the 40-plus-year-olds, they got their careers and their jobs, so they got money. So you know, your ads will be valued,
right?
You know,
and there's a little more complicated things that we could bring to the table, like to be a little more involved, a little more rounded out. I feel like this is just pure love story, right? Like we're watching a journey between older seniors finding love. Lovely, but we don't have the toxicity of the 20-year-olds. We would be a happy medium balance, guys.
I know there's gonna be some toxic 40-year-olds for sure.
Yeah.
And then I mean, look at House of Villains. Look at Johnny Bananas.
I love House of
Johnny Bananas with the blind side.
So the ladies do meet up in the living room, and Faith is discussing how next week is 4 of them going to hometowns with Gerry. But Jesse comes in and says how remarkable this journey has been and that it's coming to an end because next week is hometowns. And then he drops the bomb. The hometowns will only be 3 people.
So half the women are going home.
So half the women are going home with no hometowns. Ellen is scared. Jesse says, like, I feel like Jesse was adding insult to injury too, because he's like,
but Jesse looked scared too. As he was saying it, he looked scared. Like, oh my gosh, my grandma is not gonna be like he looked like he was just like, I gotta get out of here. Like, let me hurry up and drop this bomb and run.
He says there will be a once in a lifetime one-on-one date and one amazing group date. I was like, damn. Why does it come closer?
Oh, that's why you guys think that it's Faith, because he gets the once in a lifetime date, right?
I don't know who it is, but I know it's between those 2. I do know it's between those 2. I don't know which one though.
I thought, because I'm telling you, I was like, this is, to me, it's not a once in a lifetime date. I thought it was okay. Like, it's not my type of
But
date.
it might have been just because they were like, you didn't see the spark between them, you know? Like, so maybe that's why you didn't think it was that like extravagant.
Right. And then I went back to watch
this. This is like it was Love Island. Like, this is the final date.
This is the final date. Yeah. Pretty. I mean, if they did this on Love Island, people would be cutting each. You got the helicopter date and the yacht date? Are you kidding me?
I love a yacht.
But I will say watching. Okay, so let's go to Faith screams because her name
Yes.
gets called out for this date, and it says, "You make my heart soar." And Faith is excited. She does ITM that Gary could break her heart, but she is going there anyway. Gary is driving in a yellow Ford Jeep and says it scares him. He is going to be meeting families, but he is very excited for this one-on-one date with Faith. She is an amazing woman. He does say he knows that Faith has feelings for him, but is it feelings that can grow? And so the fact that he does know that she has feelings for him is really like, okay, so you guys have discussed that she has developed these feelings for you. And still, so you basically gave her the best date based on that.
But he does say, can these feelings grow?
Bro,
And it's
that
like,
mm-hmm.
pretty
And
late.
I'm thinking, is he talking about can they grow with him, not with her? I'm thinking to myself, he's saying, can they grow with me?
Can he catch up to where she is?
Right. And then he says, for him, Faith is the big question mark. And they hop in the Jeep and they talk about online dating, that they both tried it, but it was hard at their age. And so they do start the date in the helicopter. They are snuggled up. There's scenery and they're flying over the mansion. They wave at the ladies. Faith begins to struggle. Faith, sorry. See, look at that. My notes. Leslie begins to struggle that why did he save the once in a lifetime date for Faith? Was their connection that strong and like she didn't see it? She says, at our age, it is hard to find love. So now I watched it. I was going through this date. I was just like, I see nothing. There is no. But I realized he's definitely, I feel like, the most physically attracted to Faith.
Well, I think
feel
he
like
said that because he was like,
he
that's why
he did say that. This was before he even said it, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay. But I did keep seeing that they would look at each other in their eyes, and then they just, I was like, oh, they have like an other type of connection, not a like emotional connection, because that is what we're saying. Like, have they developed that emotional connection? They have a, oh my God, there's something about this person that I don't know if I can let them get away kind of connection. And I'm just wondering if Trista's words to him about finding the one that he can't live without is pushing him more towards Faith. That's my thing. Because watching,
I have to watch it again because I don't see this unspoken connection really.
Right.
To me, all I see is somebody that it seems to me that she really likes him, which is fine. She's really nervous and insecure about their relationship, which is understandable in these circumstances. And I was wondering if the producers gave this extravagant date and Gerry didn't choose who went on each date. You know what I mean? Like he's like, oh, I want to date this person next. And then, to make more drama with the women, the producers arrange it being a really extravagant date, but like it wasn't that Gerry specifically put the person to the date. So I don't know. I feel like the things that he said to Leslie and like, just I don't know. I feel it more with Leslie personally, but it could be that they're just trying to throw a red herring in the mix and like make me not see it. But right now I don't see it. And even with the date, like, yeah, I guess there's a little bit of like physical chemistry, but I feel like they're just further behind than he is with Leslie. And even with Teresa, I feel like there's a little more intimacy between them.
I was thinking the same thing. And then, like I said, I went back and watched it and watched what they were saying to each other and watched how they were interacting rather than paying attention to the date, right? Like, and when I was looking at it, like he's saying, they're passing over the Hollywood side and they're kissing, and she says when they look into each other's eye, it feels like magic. Then they're flying over the Pacific and they see a yacht in view, and Faith is saying, "We're not landing on that boat." And Garrett says, yes, they are. And Faith is terrified. But they do land safely on the helipad on the boat. Gerry says they were lost in a moment. It was magical. The moments with Faith were priceless. So I'm not going by just like what has happened. I'm going by Gary's words because, like we're saying, I feel like he's gotten to the point where I don't think he would be saying some of these things if he wasn't really feeling it. And I don't think, like you're saying, Chantel, the date itself is impacting it. I really do feel like it's some connection, because even when he says later some of the words he says to Teresa, he's not affirming that he feels the same way that she does, as much as he was affirming Faith in these moments. So he's like, he toasts to them. They do listen, and again, I'm gonna throw physicality out the window, but they were making out this entire time. But
I guess like from my perspective, when he was saying, like, and I agree that I don't think Gerry is a liar, and I don't think he would say things that he doesn't mean or feel. But I didn't see it or feel it when he was saying like this day was magical. I was like, oh, it is.
Right.
Like, that was my reaction. I'm like,
that's how I felt the first time.
I was like,
that's how I felt the first time. Okay. That's how I felt the first time. I was like, no, this is not. You guys have nothing. There's nothing here. Right. What do you see? But I went back and just focused in on their interactions and their words and what they were saying. And he says, there has always been something. And Gerry says, it's the look in your eyes. She says it's the same for her. She felt like when she will find her person, she would know. Yeah. And she knows with them. And Gerry tells her there's something about her. She plays the guitar. She rides a motorcycle. She sings. She's like, I'm not that good a singer. He says, but it melted my heart. And I just feel like the way he affirms her, he really likes Faith, like, a lot. I have not heard him affirm specific things about people in this way that he does Faith. I will say that. So going back, Leslie's back at the mansion spiraling. She says, watching someone you potentially could be in love with go on a date with someone else is so hard. And Ellen is saying, well, are you having regrets? She says, no, but it's hard. And we find out she's been cheated on in past relationships, and that is what is bringing up these feelings.
Right.
Which makes sense, right? Yeah. We know that Leslie seems to be in the entertainment business. She probably dated a lot of celebrities, pseudo-celebrity types. We know that I think she's been married twice for 6 years, both times. She has kids, but she's never felt like she ever had her person, right? The person who was there for her. She said her kids have been the one that's had her back. So, and that kind of makes sense. If you constantly being with people who cheat on you, you will never feel like anybody has your back, right? Because they've always disrupted your trust.
And like I will feel awful if like she's not with them showing all of her insecurities in this way. Like if she doesn't get Gerry, I'm like, that's awful. Like
she's been spiraling since the beginning, right? Like
her and Faith. They take
her and Faith.
They take turns. I'm telling you. Every other episode.
Yeah, it's like trading back.
Whoever has the date, the other one's spiraling. Yeah.
Yeah. It. I mean, but I will say kind of what you said, Chantel. It is kind of refreshing because I feel like we all have these things. We might not be be in this type of situation where we have to express it, right? But it might be in our head, right? And so
Mhm.
I like to understand that though, like it's possible that if you go to their age and not find your person, you're still feeling that way. It makes sense, right? Like our childhood, our backgrounds and relationships impact us, and they will impact us for the
Yeah,
rest of our lives. Period.
absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so we even find that out with Faith. She says that she had a hard childhood, lots of trauma, no father. She was homeless for a bit. She says the thing she did good in her life was raise great children. And with Gerry, she says he brings something new and different to her life. And Gerry said, and these were the things that I'm just like, oh, he's affirming her a lot, like a lot, like, and I was like, ooh. So it's kind of like what you're saying, Chantel. Like, I feel like the affirmations he's giving Leslie and the affirmations he's giving Faith, one of them gonna be heartbroken because I feel like he's affirming both of them a lot. Whereas I feel like he did not affirm Teresa at all and Ellen at all. And I feel like both of those two expressed, I think, first that they were like falling in love with
Yes.
him and that they
Mhm.
had strong feelings for him. So isn't that crazy? Like the first two women to like be like, I'm in love with you, or have the strongest feelings for you, were basically the last two women on his list.
Mhm.
And so Gerry says, it's hard to believe it's possible. It says it's hard to be able to have someone to tell them. He wants to be able to have someone to tell them they are special and make them feel so. So I also think, I know we think that all this like insecurities might not be a good way, but it feels like that is kind of what Gary's attracted to, because he wants to be
Take care
these
of
The
her.
knight in
people's
shining armor.
knight in shining armor.
He doesn't mind the damsel in distress. He wants to be the one that, heals her, makes her whole, puts her back together, and, they live happily ever. Yeah, some men like that. They do like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mhm.
And Faith says it's hard to believe it's possible to have someone who loves her for her, being vulnerable with someone and having them throw it back in your face. And oh my God, this really rang like really close to home for me. And Gerry says that will never happen with him. He told her in the helicopter to give into it, and he's saying the same with their relationship, basically. Um, yeah, he ITMs. He feels so guilty. He thought he was just physically attracted to her, but the time with her today shows that it's the least important thing. She is an amazing person, and he says the rose represents so much that he's giving her the rose to meet her family, and he says she's also like this rose.
So something that's tipping me in your favor, as I just looked up their birthdays. Faith is a Leo, and Leslie is a Capricorn. I think, and then we know Teresa is a Leo, so I think that would push me closer to him having a better connection with Faith.
I feel like the connection he has with
Maybe he
Teresa.
understands her better. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like the connection he has with Teresa is what I'm more seeing now with Faith from the beginning, but
Mm-hmm.
also the physical attraction, which I had never seen with him and Teresa.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep. And so they go in the hot tub, and Gerry says she could be a one in a lifetime. He said she she could be the one in his life that would be amazing. And she says she is smitten. And I just feel like I don't feel like Gary's like a flowery words type of person. He was giving a lot in after the date. Um, and so everyone but Sandra and Faith are in the living room. And they're trying to figure out what their group date would be. And isn't it hilarious? Susan is like, my dream date is on a luxury yacht.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what our group date will be. And they all love the idea. And I was like, y'all about to be heartbroken.
Heartbroken.
Oh my God. So Faith comes in from her date and they want to know what happened. And she said, well, I debated on telling you guys. I don't know if you guys want to know.
Are you sure?
Then she's like, they're like insistent. Except for Leslie. You can read it on.
Saying nothing. She was on mute. She wasn't even smiling. She was like,
and she tells them they flew over California. Ellen says, gorgeous California. And they land on the yacht, and Ellen's like, in ITM, don't give all those details. And I was like, y'all begged her.
Right. Did you see Susan's face when she was like landing on the yacht? Susan was like,
Susan said, no, that was my dream. I'm like, listen, ladies, if you don't want to know the details, don't ask.
Don't ask.
It's like opening up the floodgates. I don't know what they expect for these women to do. They're all like, well, we told you when we went on dates. Okay, so then sit there and listen to her date. Don't be upset. She gave too much detail. They're funny. I will say again, I love these women. I love this cast. They did such a good job picking this cast of women. Just amazing women. I am very sad to see the women that left go. Definitely understood it. They did not have a connection with Gerry. Knew that was happening, but
is it Ellen or Joan for the Bachelorette, Golden Bachelorette?
Listen, again, I'm gonna go back to this season was dedicated to Roberta.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And we have not heard about Joan since.
I just think Ellen, because she's more vibrant, and Joan just seemed more conservative and just soft spoken. Ellen will get the party going. Like, she'll just be a good guest doing the rounds, and just like, I just feel like she would just be better suited. Personally, that's what
yeah. I'm not sure about Joan carrying a season. I could definitely see Ellen carrying a season.
Yeah, fair. I agree.
Yeah. Not to say that if they pick Joan, I'm gonna be upset. I would be very happy to watch a Joan season. I think she deserves love. She does, based on her story, especially. And so this part was funny. Faith continues. They had champagne and charcuterie and the hot tub. And Ellen says, the hot tub on The Bachelor is serious. And also, Ellen is a huge Bachelor Nation fan. We know this. I really feel like they're going to give it to her. They're going to give it to her. She knows how to play. She knows the game.
Yeah.
She would know what she was getting into. And she got the rose. And Ellen says, the most important rose. It's like, that's it. There's only 2 roses left. And again,
that's mean though. 2 roses for like 5 women. Like, that's so mean.
That was.
Ellen was a little snarky, but it still was endearing. And I did love it. Her ITMs were funny.
They were.
And so the next evening they go to Santa Monica Pier for their final group date, and it is a carnival date, which everybody knows. I love a carnival date. And Gary's like, listen, there's a lot of serious business, but let our inner child out tonight. There's a lot at stake, but let's have fun. And so we do see them playing carnival games. They play whack-a-mole. Sandra wins that. Susan says she loves this date. She hasn't been on a date like this since she was very young, or done anything like this since she was young. They go on that swing boat ride that I hate because it makes my stomach queasy. I hate that. Sandra and Gerry play ring toss. She says she's having a great time, and especially she's having a great time with Gerry.
Mhm.
Ellen wins the water shoot game. They go on bumper cars. They go on the roller coaster. And we see Teresa ITM, and she wants to tell Gerry she's falling in love with him tonight. The last time she said this was with her husband. Now, do we think that Teresa not making her feelings more clear earlier might have impacted their connection?
No, I think the whole Kathy situation impacted their connection, because I don't think Gerry likes the drama. I don't think that he liked that she was involved in it. I think he did have a connection with her, but I think that just threw a wrench in how he was seeing her.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I don't really feel like she did anything wrong, I think it just kind of put a little bad light on her. And I think that kind of influenced his feelings towards her. And he wasn't able to allow himself to go there because it was just tainted. That's my opinion.
I could definitely see that. I also think that, and I also don't think he was as physically attracted to her as some of the other women.
Yeah, no, like it seemed a little bit more like long-term relationship platonic.
Right. Yes, exactly. Like, we could fall into this and be together for the rest of our life in comfortability.
Yeah.
But not necessarily want to rip our clothes off.
Right. It would be a choice I would make every day, like to choose to do.
Yep. Yeah. And Teresa is nervous. She hasn't said these words in 52 years. And so she does tell Gerry she never goes on roller coasters. She never does stuff like that. But he makes it easier for her, and she wants him to meet her family. And he says, we've had a connection from the beginning, since our one-on-one date. And she brings up Trista's words, and she says, well, for her, she doesn't want him out of her life. She is falling in love with him. She can't live without him. And he says, we could work. And he's repeating her words back to her.
The way you said it.
The choice of words he was saying to her. He's just repeating back to her what she's saying. He's like, we have so much in common. And he's touched by her words. And then she says, well, he didn't say it, but I can tell he's feeling the same way. I said, girl, no,
Oh, baby. Teresa,
well, he's not allowed to say it. So
that thing is solid. In Teresa's mind, that thing is solid. And it's been solid, okay? You can't tell her. You cannot
this
tell
is
her.
true. This is true. This is true. That was her whole problem with Kathy. Well, Kathy's whole problem with her. Gerry says he does have strong feelings for her. Fair. Sandra says she's been single for 29 years, but she wants to combine their families. Susan says she's excited to go home, but doesn't know if he's coming with her. He's like, I don't know. Am I? And so it's just constantly like, you could tell, like, the women he is the least connected with, he is not giving them much in these conversations. Leslie says this is hard, but she's going to lay it all out. And Leslie and Gerry do talk. They have bruises from their one-on-one. Gerry says he had a great time on his one-on-one with her. In fact, he wakes up thinking about her and laughing. She says, well, she's been going through a lot this week, and she had to work through a lot. It was hard to not be chosen. And he comforts her and says, I got you.
Yep.
And she's like, these feelings are foreign to her, which I think we kept getting from Leslie before this. I'm falling for Gerry. I think I could see myself with him. I think that I have feelings for him. But she has feelings for him. Mm-hmm. She has feelings for him. And she just didn't know where they came from. They came out of nowhere. She just it's like they hit her this week. Mm-hmm. And I guess it was just like going on a date and then seeing, oh, crazy. I'm jealous of this girl that he's about to take out, who I like, but damn it, why'd she get the date? And damn it, like, wait, do I have feelings for him? Like, This is not just like nothing.
Is it the test that the guys on all these shows usually need?
Exactly. And she says she's crazy about him. And he says he felt such joy on their date. He felt very protective over her.
See?
And she said she loves that about him.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's that.
He want to be the knight in shining armor.
Yep, it's that knight in shining armor. And she said no one does that for her. And the fact that he did that for her, and he says, and I always will. And listen, it could be editing. They could have cut a whole bunch of stuff out of these other people's conversations with him. But what he's giving Leslie and Faith in this episode.
Was this the same conversation where he says, "You're my girl"?
Yes. He said, "You look happy," and she says she is. And she whispers, she's falling in love with him. And he says, "You're my girl." And I was just like, oh,
If
yeah.
some man said to me, "You're my girl," and then he chooses somebody else,
yes, that's what I'm saying. The confirmation, I feel like he gave both Leslie and Faith, to me, he's going to literally tear them apart.
Yeah, because he told Leslie in this conversation, "You're my girl, and I got you." So if somebody tells me I'm their girl and they got me, that's like saying, "Don't worry, no matter what you see me on dates, don't worry, I got you."
Right.
It's us.
And the same thing with Faith. He tells her, fall into it, lean into it, be vulnerable with me. I'm here for you. I will never
protect you. Mm-hmm.
I will never turn away from the person, not choose you for the person that you are. Like this is.
But with Leslie, though, going back to what I was saying before, he saying like "you're my girl," it's the claiming of ownership. And that we'll be joking one time. We'll be like, "We just want to be owned."
Yes,
I want to be
owned. I just want to be pursued and claimed. Yes,
right.
And he's doing that, and that he hasn't done that in the my or yours or your mine. Like he hasn't done that to Faith, in my opinion. Yes, he's giving her a lot of reassurances, and like you said, you could feel like that chemistry between them and all that stuff. But like he hasn't claimed her, and he's claimed Faith and Leslie, in my opinion. And so that's another reason that leads me to believe that he chooses Leslie in the end, because like claiming ownership on a woman and then just like saying like, actually, I'm gonna go for somebody else. It's not a good look, and I just don't think that they'd make Gerry look that bad.
Not good.
Right? I think that he would look worse.
Well, no, but then next week they do say that he's in love with 3 people, so that kind of makes it like I feel like they did the same thing with Charity, right? Like I'm in love with 3 people. No, you're not. Because like even she had to say it afterwards. Like, no, I wasn't. I wasn't in love with that man. I was in love with Dante. Right? Like she had to go back and clean it up a bit because everybody's like, you were in love with Joey. She's like, no, I wasn't. And we knew she wasn't, right? Like we watched it and we're like, no. So it's the same thing here. Like like he could literally not be in love with these 2 women, but that's what he's feeling, and so that's what he's expressing. And I do feel like these are the 2 front runners. Yeah. And so we do get an ITM for Ellen. She says she's scared. It took so long to find this love, this feeling. And she's like, again, like it's kind of what Leslie said. She's just gonna lay it out there, lay it on the line, and
What did Faith do in the talent show?
Faith played the guitar and sang. Oh. Yeah. Wait.
Leslie kissed him. Leslie did the dance.
Leslie did the dance and and then Joan read the poem. But that's what I'm saying. He said that the guitar and the singing, and she's like, I'm not that good at singing, melted his heart. So we didn't hear what she was singing either. Like she could have wrote an entire song just for Gerry, and they purposely blocked it out because they didn't want us to see their connection, right? Right. And so we don't even know whatever she sang to him could have been My Funny Valentine for all we know. And whatever it was impacted him so much that he remembered it, because she's sitting there like, I'm not that great. She also could be fishing
You
for
know what? And
content.
another thing with Ellen, speaking of
Hmm.
Ellen, she doesn't give him that damsel in distress. She doesn't, that's not
Mm,
her. She
No,
doesn't
no.
come
And
in
we're
like,
gonna
you
get to
need to
her
save
words.
me.
Yep,
She's used to being independent, and
yep,
I think that's a difference. I think that's a, like, I don't need you. You know what I'm
yes,
saying? Like, I
and
mean,
I'm
I want you, but I
yep,
mean, I'm
and
good. I got an active life. I play pickleball. I'm gonna introduce
yeah,
my best friend, my
yep,
and
kids. You know, I do this. And remember, her talent was being funny, talking about being a sex education teacher, and stuff like that. Like, it wasn't something romantic to melt your heart. It wasn't. She just is more lively, like to have fun. So maybe that's the thing. Now that we know he likes to be the knight in shining armor, she not over here like, save me, I'm so insecure, I've been cheated on, I don't know, you know what I mean? She doesn't do that. She doesn't
I
do that.
think though, like, and agreeing with what you're saying here is that that Ellen is living more in her masculine, right? So we're always talking about like anybody that's had life experience, that's had to take care of themselves, that's had to put a roof over their head, maybe take care of some children without having a male counterpart in the picture. Like they become a little bit more masculine and don't sit in their feminine, which I've learned that, because I'm independent, that it's actually not a way to attract a masculine man. And so,
Right.
yes, like, he's a damsel in distress and like, save me. But like, it's also the femininity of allowing someone to take care of you, allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to show that you do need someone's help. You do need him to be there for you. And yes, it's showing up in a way where it's just kind of like an insecurity, but I think it's also innately feminine to need to feel safe by a man, to need to feel comforted, to taken care of. And so I think that is more so what he's attracted to. It's the femininity of the vulnerability of somebody that needs him, that he can take care of. And so Ellen is not presenting as somebody that he needs to take care of, which is just innately what a masculine man needs to connect with a feminine woman. That's like what they need. And she's just not presenting as a feminine woman. She's presenting as amazing, and she's obviously beautiful, and she's obviously is feminine, but like her energy and her being so self-assured and confident and within herself and can do it on her own is not a feminine energy. So that's why I think that he's not drawn to her in this way.
Right. I agree. And I also, I've always said, well, not always, but since I started dating again after I got separated and divorced, I realized most men have ego, right? Like in my head going into dating, I would think, oh, I don't want an ego driven guy. But what I've realized is most men have an ego. They want you to want them. And it's so funny because I do it often. There are men, I will talk to them and then they won't talk to me for days, right? Like days. And then they come back and they're like, remember who I am. And then they message me and then we talk. And then I'm just like, well, then I can go about my business too, right? And they will like unmatch, stop talking to me, get upset. But they don't like when you do back to because again, they're supposed to be the person leading, driving this, and when you take over the driver's seat, they get upset.
Absolutely.
And
that's also like, this is just getting on with dating or whatever, but like when people are like, I think that you to be like to do 50-50. Is it you? No. Anyways, I have had this debate with a lot of people, but I do feel like if it's somebody that
50-50 in a relationship.
No, okay, relationship fine, but like on a first date, if he asks you, like, I would want.
I don't care. That part I don't.
That person would have to take care of the date, because if it's 50-50, that means that he's not interested in me at all,
right.
And that
that's how I feel.
It's platonic.
Yeah,
right?
I know a lot of people who feel that way. I don't necessarily feel that way, but yeah.
But then also though, if the woman pays and stuff like that, it actually, I find, emasculates the man, and they don't feel they want to be in a relationship with you either. And so yeah, I think that allowing masculine men to be masculine
Mm-hmm.
is a really, really key component in the dating world, especially
Mm-hmm.
with women who are over the age of like 30, we'll say
Yeah.
35, who've had previous long-term relationships and have lived their life and have lived a lot of their life taking care of themselves. I think that they have to remember that they have to be vulnerable in a way that a masculine man understands how to take care of them.
Yeah. So that's one thing I will not do. I will not pay for a date. I will pay 50-50 for a date. Be like if you want to split the bill.
50-50 means that we're not dating ever again,
Right,
probably. But
like if we're still getting to know each other, that I don't have a problem with that. If I'm not going to, I don't care if I ask, I don't care if you ask, I'm not paying for the full day. That's it. So those are really my only rules. Like I don't care to split the bill, but I'm not going to pay for the bill. Like no, I could have stayed home.
Anything. And I think you should show up with something. And don't just show up empty-handed too. Like I like to be pursued. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily have to be flowers, but you're just showing up with nothing. Like you just coming like, I like to be pursued. That's just me. That's just me.
I'm very particular, so
but
like
I let that
you don't have, you literally can come empty-handed because 90% of the time you probably won't bring something I'm gonna want to keep. So that's why a lot of times I don't mind, because also like if we're going on a date, I'm going to eat, because I'm not going to be one of those people like fake. I'm a foodie. I'm not going to fake like I don't like to eat, like I don't like food. So if I want something, I'm gonna buy it. So if you don't want to spend $100 on something, I'm gonna pay for it. It's fine.
No,
so
I want something. I'm going to order it. I'm not gonna buy it. I'm going to order it, and I expect for you to pay for it. You're asking me out on a date. You pick this restaurant. You should have calculated like how things cost. I'm not gonna just be ordering stuff just for the sake of ordering stuff to run up your bill. But if I see something that I want to eat, I am going to order it. But I feel like you're pursuing me. Like you're supposed to show me that you're pursuing me and you're willing to take these steps and you're intentional with asking me on a date, picking this place. You're intentional about that, and you can afford 2 dates. You have to be able to afford 2 dates.
Agreed.
If you on a budget, you should be asking people out for coffee and ice cream. Don't be taking me to no restaurant and then I can't order what I want to order.
That's
a lot of dating experts say we should not be going out to restaurants for dates. You're supposed to go for coffee or meet at the park and meet in public places and get to know each other. I mean, I've done it all. Kind of. I don't see a difference. But teach them. I mean, I've met somebody for coffee, and I've met like it was nice. Like I don't hate it. Like I'm not one of those people like you can't take me to Cheesecake Factory. Like I just there's something.
I will go to Cheesecake Factory. I saw that. I would go to Cheesecake Factory. And it's a couple things there I would love to order. Like, so I would definitely have gone to Cheesecake Factory. I'm not that bad. I'm not that bad. You know what I mean?
Listen, like, meet a Cheesecake Factory for drinks and split a cheesecake. I have no problem with it. None.
No, I'm ordering a whole meal. I'm not splitting cheesecake.
No, what I'm saying is for some people, they Cheesecake Factory is not even like in the verbiage. And what I'm saying is I don't even need the whole meal. Like we could just meet there for drink. They have great drinks and cheesecake. I'm saying I don't have to meet you there for the meal if you don't want to have the meal. We don't have to have the meal.
Yeah, say let's go out for dessert. You want to go get some dessert?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and drinks.
Yeah,
let's go for a walk.
I have a friend that doesn't do coffee dates. I have a friend that doesn't do coffee dates, and she doesn't do ice cream days. She don't like that. She like that small. She will not do coffee dates and ice cream dates. She hates that crap. Like she hates it. I mean, I don't mind doing a dessert date. Like if you're meeting later in the evening and they're just like, hey, I want to see you. I know you worked late, or I know you already went out with your friends, but I still want to see you. Like, can we meet for dessert?
That's what I mean.
I would be like, that's fine. She's like, no.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Time for dinner, or it's not happening.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, if dinner's not an option or a possibility, I don't have a problem meeting at the bar for drinks and maybe dessert or appetizers or whatever, and chit chatting and go about our business. Like in the getting to know you phase, absolutely. Now, boyfriend, girlfriend, marriage, that's a whole other thing. Like that's like something we have to come up with on how we want to handle and take our relationship. So. Um, but let's finish up
Yeah.
this episode. Ellen. Oh, we were talking about Ellen. So Ellen does go on a roller coaster with Gerry, and she says that she feels like she's 10 years old, in an amusement park with her boyfriend. And I'm like, Ellen, you were dating at 10 years. First, you found your first husband at 10 years old. Now you're dating at 10 years old. I'm like, what was happening when Ellen was 10? But she wants to reiterate that she's falling in love with him. She wants him to meet her friends and family. She wants him to feel the same way. She does say they feel like a team. And that's what I was like, oh no, that's not the right way
You
to
can't feel
say
like
it.
a team yet. Not yet.
No. And it's because in Ellen's eyes, they gotta be on equal footing. And which is also a reason why I think she's going to carry a great season, because again, when you are the Bachelorette,
They
these
have to
men
step
will
up.
try to take control of your dating
Right.
process and try to take control of your choices, and you have to be able to not allow that. And I
Right.
don't think
Right.
Ellen would. I don't think she would. Um, and he says he has strong feelings for her. He has since the beginning, the hot air balloon date. And she says how she feels again to him, and he says he feels so much for her. And Ellen is torn up. But I feel like he didn't give her that much in this relation. Like
Right.
again, they could have cut it
Yeah, I
out,
was
but I
scared.
don't feel like he was affirming her at all in this conversation.
Yeah. He
And
wasn't. That's
literally
why I was
when
scared.
when we get to the rose ceremony, I really typed out. I was like, who got the Faith already had the rose. I was like, Faith, Leslie, and Teresa. I already
100%.
typed it out. I already typed it out.
I didn't. I
So
mean, I as much as I like Ellen, I felt that Teresa was going to be the person that he was going to bring through. Because it makes sense for like what's been happening in the season so far, and B, I think that he would feel worse. I think he knows that it's not Ellen.
mhm,
So I think he'd feel worse about breaking it off with Ellen, knowing
mhm,
how it was probably hard for Ellen to say these words to him and that he's falling. Like, I think he just wanted to rip the Band-Aid off there
yes,
sooner.
yeah.
He's gonna have a hard time with Teresa for sure, but I
Oh
think that it
yes,
would have been worse if it was Ellen.
yes, absolutely. Gary says he can't give up the rose. He can't break so many hearts at once. He needs time to make the
Oh, I actually knew
decision.
he was gonna do that too. I was like,
Yeah,
he's
me
not gonna do
too.
this now.
Yeah, it was. I was. He's like, even if it's just a day, the women are disappointed, but they understand. That's why I didn't even write much. It was a blip. I was like, I knew he was going to do that. So we get to the rose ceremony, and Teresa's very nervous because she knows that he has strong connections with Leslie and Ellen, and Faith already has a rose. Ellen is confident but nervous. And Gary discuss, and I really feel like those like the way that they affirm themselves really kind of breed to who Gary is leaning, right? Like, and so Gary does discuss not giving out the rose the night before, and he said he spent a sleepless night weighing the importance. And just like you said, Chantel, I really think he was just like, yeah, I can't give it to Ellen. I don't think I have those feelings for her.
And they to say that like I'm gonna take you to meet my family and then
Yeah,
like break up with her, I think it's just
yeah,
too
no,
much.
no. So he calls out Leslie first for the first rose,
Got it.
and Ellen says, "Oh my God!" And then Jesse comes out and says, "Ladies, this is the final rose for tonight." Teresa says, "Oh God." She ITMs, her heart is beating on her chest. She's found love. She doesn't want to lose it. Ellen says she's scared. She's made space for Gary in her life if he chooses it. And I think that's at this point where she realized, yeah, no, like he's not good. Choose me. Gary calls out Teresa, And Ellen says, "Oh my God, I'm gonna faint." And Leslie holds her up. Sandra walks out and thanks Gerry. Susan walks out and says, "Have fun." And Ellen walks out and he walks her out. And I mean, he just basically just said that she was great. Oh God, my notes are stuck. Um, that she's great, but he hopes that she is able to find love in the future. Like he hopes that this journey doesn't impact the ability. And again, how I'm thinking Ellen's a bachelorette. They put her in the car, guys, and we got her whole thing in the car, heartbrokenness, and how this is hurtful, and she really thought she found love, but this does not stop her from her journey to find love, guys.
I mean, they're laying out the path.
They're laying the path out.
And you know, if that had been Leslie or that had been Faith, it would have been a whole crying like spell. Like they would have been crying, boo-hooing, you know, all of that stuff. Ellen, you know, felt something, but again, this is like, I guess, like you're saying, her masculinity. It's like, suck it up. Like, yes, I'm hurt and I might cry when I get back to my hotel or whatever. But for right now, be clear, concise, listen to him, compose yourself, just get in the car, you know, and go away. Like, you know, that's just the difference in how they handle things. So I get what you're saying. Like,
and she also,
you know, that's part of the masculinity. Like,
but also she's a Bachelor Nation fan, and she knows that this is the game. Like she knows that her crying, like in this type of situation, it's not like she's final two. Her being devastatingly crying is not going to get her the crown, right? Like she has to be strong because she can't be despondent, right? And I do feel like right now she's probably the lead for the front runner for the Golden Bachelorette, personally. I also, as Chantel has been saying, there's two scenes that we have not gotten. It's the one where Gerry is absolutely torn up because he has to let somebody go. And I remember from the very beginning, Teresa having a conversation with Gerry that she felt misled because she really thought he liked her. And it, again, I don't know how much Teresa's watched this show. So again, she seems to think that him not confirming their feelings still kind of means that he feels the exact same way. And I think she's going to be devastated to find out that that's the case. And I'm pretty sure that's what we're going to be seeing in the next episode.
Look forward to it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody obviously to be heartbroken, but like to see how he navigates these three women who he does have some sort of connection with all of them. How is he going to manage this? You know?
Yeah.
Because he's a feeling person and he's pretty kind and considerate.
He is. I think he has handled where we've gotten to so far very, very well. I like him. I really do. Give me a Gerry. I would be very happy. Like, yes. And I'm probably a little too independent for him. But you know, I like what he brings to the table, thought process wise. Everything he's saying makes like any woman should be happy to have somebody who would be as caring as him. So
God, I'm just like picturing like Joey. I'm just like, oh my God, his season's gonna be so annoying.
Yeah,
I just feel it already.
I know.
I just don't think we're gonna get this. I mean, I think they're gonna try, but I don't see him being able to provide. Substance. I don't even need knight in shining armor. I just need something, and I just don't think we're gonna get
I just don't feel that he's ready.
But yeah, whatever. Not at all. All right, guys. So thank you for joining us for our Golden Bachelor hour-ish. we are headed out. We're going to head over to Chantel's channel, Reality Realness, to discuss Bachelor in Paradise. That was an episode. I can't wait to discuss that one. Guys, tell them what you're up to otherwise. Miss T. Joy?
Oh, I am just reviewing these shows with you all, trying to catch up on all the other shows. And that's about it. Like, it's so much to watch, so little time, because I also have to work and that gets in the way. It sucks. But yeah, that's what I'm up to.
How about you, Chantel?
Well, when I'm not getting annoyed by Big Brother and not wanting to turn off the TV, but I'm doing the live feed update tomorrow morning.
Oh Lord!
So I have to go and watch how these people are making me mad. I'm gonna be in Brea, California on Tuesday. So from Tuesday to Friday, I'll be over in Cali for Robinson Podcast. So see if you can guess my costumes. I'll be in a Survivor-based costume on Wednesday and a Big Brother-based costume on Thursday. So bring your costumes. I think there's a costume contest for the patrons. It should be a fun and good time. So definitely. I think there's still some tickets left, so get your tickets and join us over in Cali. And then, as these ladies are saying, I will be going live shortly on my channel, Reality Realness, with 3 S's to talk about Bachelor in Paradise.
Yes. And always, guys, follow me, Entertainment in Color. I have not been able to cover this week's Bachelor, Big Brother. I am also very angry, but possibly later today, Janelle and I will be here to cover that, and also the Traders Canada episode, which was such a good episode.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, so good. And so join me. Just listen, subscribe here, hit the notification button. If I go live to talk about these other shows today, you want to know, you want to be there, because they, like, really, other than Big Brother, which, I mean, the season's about to end Thursday potentially.
Right.
It's like, literally, we want to discuss this, even if it's just a rant.
Well, probably, yeah. The season's ending Thursday. Yeah.
Right.
And I'm gonna
for
be
me, at least.
I'm gonna be watching it live. I'm gonna be watching it live. Season's done.
Yeah, that's what I've come to. And so also, I'm probably 2 shows I want to cover coming up. I think Love Island Games definitely covering, and maybe Twin Love. Yes, with Nikki and Bella.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you did say something.
What were you gonna say, Chantel?
No, I just was saying, like, I have a lot of twins in my family, and I'm like, I forgot what this show was, but yes, the Nikki Bella, Bella twins.
All right, so we're headed over to Reality Realness. Join us there. Thank you guys for coming. We will see you next Sunday, hopefully.